Hello. I was asked an interesting question this week. Hi, Wendy. I was asked, is there a difference between the levels of worthiness among sinners? In other words, are some folk more worthy of salvation than others? I think if it was left up to us, if it was left up to me, for example, if I could choose on behalf of God, I would have my own set of standards as to who I thought were the least worthy saints, the least worthy sinners, the most worthy sinners, if there was such a thing. In other words, is there a difference between the one who looks at a child with pedophile or pedophilia on his mind than the one who actually acts out on it and actually seduces and has sex with a child? Is there a difference between the one who thinks and the one who does? Well, according to Jesus, there is no difference, because he made that statement in regards to adultery. He said that the one who looks upon a woman to sin is no different from the one who actually commits the act. So in answer to that question, I would say no, no, and no again. There is no level of worthiness. You may look at a certain person and say, well, I don't like that person. You may look at gays and you may say, well, I don't like gays. I'm a person that always had a special affection for gays, for gay men. When I was out there in the world, my best friends were gay men. And I'm going back, y'all, to the 60s when the whole gay scene was not that gay. Y'all hear what I'm saying? It was not acceptable in society at all. But I happen to like gays. Others hate gays. And they say they don't deserve a place in heaven. They don't deserve to be saved. God doesn't look upon it that way. I want y'all to put it in your mind. This one little big word. It's all. All. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. All. In my last video, I talked about the nature, the sin nature. There is a nature in some kinds of flesh for certain things. We have in Galatians, I should have turned to it, Galatians 5, what is referred to as the works of the flesh. Now, when we talk about this flesh, the flesh is human nature. Human nature without God. I mean, even human nature with God is still funky. The carnal mind is at enmity with God. I want you to hear this. This is the answer. This is the answer to the flesh. Walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lusts of the flesh. We're going to go into that in another video series about, well, how do I walk in the spirit? But what we have in human nature is degrees of lust in that flesh. So what, now you take me for example. Might as well use me. That old worldly Pam. She never killed anybody. I'm not talking about abortions now. I'm talking about adults. I never killed anybody. But I wanted to kill. And I knew that I had a nature to kill. I knew I did. And so I said, I know one thing. If a man cheats on me, he gonna die. It won't be planned necessarily, but that impulsive nature of mine is something to pick up the iron off the table and bash him upside the head with it. That was in my nature. Now, you say to me, well, now that you're saved, is that still in your nature? You know my answer to that? My answer to that is, I don't know. You know why I say that? Because that side of my nature is dead. It's been crucified. That violent part of my flesh has been crucified. It's dead. When something is dead, it has no life in it. So as long as I keep it dead, then I ain't gonna kill nobody. You understand? Has a man cheated on me since I've been born again? Sure. You know, did that violent tendency in me rise the way it used to be before March 29th, 1977 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when I got born again? You know, I let it die. That side of me died. So if I were to wake up that flesh again and not walk in the spirit, even though I'm born again and I got a new spirit, I gotta walk in that new spirit so I don't fulfill the lust of my flesh. Not my old flesh, my dead flesh, because the flesh ain't never old. It's always there. And so therefore, it has to remain dead. So, as long as I walk in the spirit, and you ask me that question, Pam, could you still kill somebody? I have to say no. Because I walk in the spirit. But if I ever step out of that, and I don't walk in the spirit, all right, and I cut loose, then that flesh is still capable of all kinds of things. Because when you get born again, nothing is done with your flesh. It has to be crucified. Now, I'm going to read a little bit to you about the flesh. Galatians 5. I say, then, walk in the spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that you would. But if you be led of the spirit, you are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, I think that's just wild, abandoned lust, y'all. That's what that lasciviousness is. Idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath. That's what I was talking about, that wrath. Strife, seditions, heresies, envies, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in times past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. And then it goes on to tell you what the fruit of the Spirit are. But now, when you get saved, you get a brand new spirit. That brand new spirit is what you have to lean on in order to overcome the flesh. Overcoming the flesh means that the flesh has got to die, because the nature of the flesh never changes. But the nature of a born again spirit has changed. We know that we pass from death to life. Why? Because we love. We love the brethren. If you don't love somebody that's saved, honey, your flesh is in control. And you are of the devil. That's who your father is. Because we love the brethren. Don't care what language that they're speaking, what part of the country they're in. If you belong to Jesus, and if I'm saved, then I love you. We'll continue.